Looking for stories that are fresh and new? Dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, cyberpunk, alternate history, and more. They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. From 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold.
Looking for something new in dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, alternative history? They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. Get the 10-volume box set with 159 stories and full-color illustrations, plus 34 articles with writings and art tips. Get the UPRN discount, $125 for the entire box set. That's a $60 savings for that beautiful box set. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Go to uprntalkradio.com, click on the link, and place your order.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the special edition show of Into the Night with Shawn Kelly. Tara is busy being right now, but hopefully she'll be coming back on pretty soon. So how was everybody's week? Well, since Tuesday, mine's been pretty good. I tell you what, I got a very, very awesome show tonight. I got two people who are dear friends of mine, and I have had a lot of correspondence with them, and they're just beautiful people. And it's going to be a very enjoyable show. You know, I'm really looking forward to hearing their stories and finding out a little bit more about them and what they do and all that kind of good stuff. So for the next 2 hours, you know, it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be a good show, just like all my shows are. And hi, Amanda Winray. Good to see you. So I have a couple announcements I want to make before I get into this. October 28th, I'm going to be at the Carnegie Library in Homestead, Pennsylvania. My friend, he's my friend, Drake Bowman. He runs the Oakmont Paranormal Society, and he does this every year where he does a thing for the library, and he brings people in and do little mini investigations for the public, and which is pretty cool. And what else is pretty cool about it too is that he brings in a lot of other groups to help him out. So they're very, 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 very good nights. October 29th, I'll be at the Penn Brewery over on the north side from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm going to be doing a little presentation. So if you're in the north side Sunday night between 8 and 10, head on over to the Penn Brewery and, you know, you can join in on the fun. Now, the reason why I'm having my show tonight, okay, this is it's special because I got special guests, you know, but also, Halloween night, which is on a Tuesday, okay, UPRN Talk Radio, all the hosts on UPRN are having a Halloween party on Tuesday night. So this is kind of like filling in for my show for Halloween. So I hope everyone had the last 4 days. So I'm going to read, you know, some of their bios for you. So you can get a little bit of thing. Virginia, my first guest is Virginia Lanigan. And she has experienced precognition, premonition dreams that came true. A couple to mention was one of her daughter's pregnancy and another about a woman's dog dying came true. In 2019, I experienced what's called the dark night of the soul, in which I called out to God and asked God for something to do because my life felt like I lost my purpose. And I came across a tarot deck of cards. I got into doing that for a short time and discovered I don't need them, that I could sit in a chair, meditate on a person, and get so much more than the cards could ever tell me. I've worked on missing persons cases. One, the teenager was located, the other was a sad outcome of seeing everything to angels, a demon possessed woman, murders, suicides, etc., all associated with doing readings for people. Most recently, working alongside my dear friend Johnny Freeman, whom I've known since I started doing readings in 2019, and they do live readings together, and they do help a lot of people with their problems and tell them what spirit needs to validate for them. As for Virginia, oh hey Eldridge, what's up? Good to see you. Is that Eldridge? No, that's Air Dalgo. Okay, well, welcome. And Johnny Freeman's bio is my name is Johnny Freeman, and I am a psychic medium. I was a skeptic until I did my first murder case. With communication with law enforcement, we were able to recover the body. Murder cases and missing people cases were worked with great success. People from all over Europe assisted me to hone my skills. We worked not only murders and missing person cases, but also readings of individuals. Virginia and I met approximately 5.5 years ago during a reading I did for her, and we became friends. We started working together about a year ago. We opened a room on Facebook and to do live readings there. And trust me, he's good. He's good at doing readings, and so is Virginia. One of my good friends, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Sybil, I'll call her Sybil, from Hermitage, PA, and I clear houses of bad energy and spirits. We were both mentioned in the book, The Devil's Dozen by Ed Kellerman of SWPA. And that is their bios. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome Virginia.
Hello, thank you for having me here. Hi, Shawn.
And Johnny Freeman.
Hello.
How are you?
Great, couldn't be better. Thank you too for coming on. I'm really excited about this,
I'm excited too. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm glad.
Hi, Johnny.
And
Hello. Hello, Virginia. Hi, Shawn.
Good to see you.
Hey, Johnny, how are you? And like again, I want to thank you too for coming on. There has been a couple times I have gone into your rooms, and I see how you and Johnny work together. Helping people out with what's going on in their life, and picking up on things that people really can't see for themselves. Amanda Lynn Ray says hello, Virginia, and hello, Johnny.
Hello, Amanda.
And
great to see you here.
So what I want to start off with Virginia, because it's ladies before gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, that's fine.
Okay. Why don't you tell the world and people out there who are listening to our show, can you give us a little background about yourself? Hey, Brandon.
Okay, so as you mentioned in my bio, I had what's called the dark night of the soul. I was going through a very bad dark depression, and I called out to God. I was lying in bed, called out to God, said, God, you need to do something really big here in my life, because I was really down in the dumps. And, it was a dark night of the soul. And I prayed really hard, and I cried. And the next day I stumbled across these tarot cards, and it was really crazy, because it really felt like I was led by God and led by spirit to do readings. I started out, found these cards, and I laid them out, and I did a spontaneous reading on myself. And I started working with tarot cards really in the very beginning, and I had an interest in that, in numerology. And then I realized that I could meditate on people, and I was able to get so much more by meditating on people. And, I started really connecting to spirit. And one of the very first readings that I did on somebody, I saw a murder. I saw somebody being murdered, and it was like watching a movie reel. It was really crazy because I was seeing a man being strangled, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Like, I can't believe I'm seeing this. I was hearing the person's name. I got the year that they died, and I, and saw and knew details about it. I knew that the family was not going to know how this person passed away, and sure enough, that was accurate and that was true. And the name was very, very close. It wasn't completely clear, but it was close enough, where I heard it was an uncle. Uh, Banky is the name, but I heard Hank. So I was really close on the name, but everything else, sometimes when you're picking up on spirit and you're doing a reading, you could be slightly off about something, but if you get 9 things out of 10 things right, you know that you're on point. No one's ever 100% when doing a reading, but I've always been pretty on point, and so that's how I knew that I was like, wow, I'm really onto something here. And ever since then, I've been doing readings, and I really enjoy connecting to spirit, and I enjoy working with people. I love to validate for people what it is that they need to hear, what their soul already knows. So a lot of times, they already know something deep down inside, and they just need somebody else to validate it for them, that what they're feeling and what they need to know is true. So, um,
Mhm. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Johnny, share about yourself.
Okay. I was a very big skeptic of all this stuff, and I ended up having some visions while I was talking to a lady online, and I was seeing this stuff. It was coming to me, and it ended up being a girl that was abducted, a woman, and she was murdered, and they couldn't find her body. And this went on, and anyway, I got in touch with the authorities through this woman actually, and they found her body where I said it was. She was laying exactly the way I said. I was able to give the initials of the people that were involved with the murder, and they're in jail. They were prosecuted. Uh, it scared the crap out of me. I'll be honest with you. There's no lie about it because I didn't believe in any of this stuff.
Mhm.
And then I was picked up from a friend from the UK that's been doing this her whole life, and she got me involved in a group that have helped me so much with clearing what I was seeing, clarifying it. And we went from there. Uh, they're great people. It's a closed group, actually. Uh, Next thing I know, I'm on Facebook one morning. Guy from Ohio knows a friend of mine from Ohio. Another murder case. So I started doing these murder cases, and it took 4 days for them to find the young guy that died there. He was a teenager, but everything where I told them there was going to be, and they were like they couldn't believe it. But when you go and you start seeing this stuff and you report it to police aren't as willing to listen to us as it seems. You think they would listen because it'd be a way to clear a case or whatever, or maybe get a suspect or whatever. Really, they don't want to work with us a lot of times. Some of them do, but most of them don't because I guess there's been so much scamming and all this time and stuff. Who believes who? But
Mhm.
I also did a lot of missing person cases with a lot of success. Uh, I started out doing the readings for individuals, and this group that I'm in, they sent me like 100 readings a week to start me out, which is unheard of. And I sat there and I did every one of them, and I was hitting, and they couldn't believe it. Then they taught me how to do things a little bit easier, okay, a little bit, so I could see clearer without having to meditate as much or whatever. Uh, which brings me to meet Virginia, and I did a reading for her, and I started helping her that day. We became friends, and I started helping her that day. She's telling me, "Oh, I have trouble meditating." I said, "I don't meditate actually, but this is the way most women can do it." And I explained to her what most women do that meditate. And we became friends over the years, very close friends. And the whole time, though, I was telling her, "Well, you can't do this. You can't judge people. You can't do this. Can't do that." What I was taught by people that have done this their whole life. And she listened to me. And one day I said, "Would you have listened to me if I'd have told you this is what you have to know?" She said, "No, I wouldn't listen at all." But I just installed that in her head. And then it came to the time where we're sitting there, and she says, "I think we ought to do readings together." Okay, I never thought about it. I never had a room on Facebook. I didn't want a room on Facebook because I've been into so many psychic rooms and I see what kind of a mess goes on in there, and I didn't want anything to do with it. But she says to me, she says, "Well, how are you telling me that you can do these readings, all these different readings you're doing, and you don't have a room, you don't do this, you don't do that?" I said, "I don't. I'm me. I'm just me," is what I told her. So she brought a case to work with me, and she worked on it for a while with this gentleman, and she brought it to me, and I sent her back like a report of what I saw, and I kind of blew her out of the water. She said, "We're working together." She said, "We got to work together." She said, "Because I can't believe what you sent me." She said, "Everything was dead on and then plus more." And I had to stop because what happened was a guy overdosed. Well, he was given a hot shot, as they call it, and he's dead. He got murdered, more or less. But the guy's brother was the one that wanted the reading, and he wanted to go against, get all the information because he wanted revenge, and I wouldn't give him I stopped before it was over. I said, "No, we can't do this." Because that guy had a young child, plus the other people, somebody's going to get hurt. We don't want to be involved in that. We have to stop. We have to use our judgment a lot of times on where we have to stop reading. And
Right.
And we knew I knew we had to stop, and she understood then whenever I explained it to her what was going to happen. And then we started working together. So we opened a room. Well, she had one room, and we opened a room. She opened a room for me, and we started doing lives. We started doing lives not in a room first with people, just practicing to see how our energies are going to work. I'm not saying we're the best psychics in the world, but I will say right now on the internet, two psychics working together, you won't find much better than us on the internet. Okay, or in life.
That's true. Before you go on, Tone, Johnny, I have to acknowledge people in the chat room here. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Hi, Missy Farmer. Hey, my brother Tony from Texas. What's up, Al?
Missy, my daughter.
Cindy Mitch, hello. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Who else we got in here? Debbie Freeman. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you. Ivy Lyons, glad to meet you. Thank you for all coming in. Here we go. What else is going on? Cindy Mitch. And of course, Amanda Winring. Well, we said hello to her earlier, so that's okay. She's allowed to have two. And then if y'all see Patrick Kelly there, that's my brother, and I guess my mom is watching the show tonight. She says I'm looking good, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I'm sorry, Johnny. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay, so before I even opened the room, we started working together. And I said to her, I said, "My journey with the universe is to help people. The money issues, I would love to make money with being a psychic, and I do make a little bit. But my journey is to help people." And she said, "That's my journey too."
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we work so good together.
Mm-hmm.
And we opened this room, and Shawn, you've been there.
Yep.
You even told me you don't have a group, you don't have a room, you have a community there, because everybody in that I have a private closed room. Everybody helps each other. They uplift each other. They really work hard. Well, if they'll ask us questions, we answer them, and everybody it just backs everybody so nice in there. You couldn't ask for more for what I want. Okay. We are pretty good, and when we do readings together, private readings, it's like amazing. People don't understand it. What Virginia gets and what I get, we get it two different ways, but it's all spirit. We only tell what spirit says, what we see and feel clear, what Spirit tells us is what we'll say. Anything else is not going to be said because that's just a story. That's what I've always said.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Okay.
when you guys do readings, when the both of y'all do
Yes.
readings, do you do any type of protection? Do you have any spirit guides that you work with, or somebody? Not, I hate saying the word ritual, but do you do something before you guys go do your readings?
I'll let Virginia answer that.
Johnny runs and guns. He runs
Okay.
and guns. Me, well, he's just him, right? He's just me. I can't take his line, but I do have a ritual. I do. I like to pray before I do a reading, so I will sometimes light a candle, but I always say a prayer, and I'll pray for a few minutes before I come on and do a reading, or before we do live readings. I'll sit and I'll pray. I like to do that. So yeah, I do have a little bit of a ritual. I'll pray to my God. I say God angel, my spirit guides, and I even say Jesus. I mentioned Jesus in there too. The ascended master's Jesus. That's my prayer before I go on. And I always say, tell me what they need to know, what they need to hear. I always say that, you know.
I do know now. Now, Johnny, what about you? You just go for it and just go out there.
Shawn, I also do presentations at like Bigfoot events and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
we'll get to that later on. Go ahead.
Okay, but I mean, it's the same as there. I don't think about what I'm going to say until I am there. When I get called on stage here, or like whenever we turn on the cameras, I run and gun, like she says.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to meditate. I sleep 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours a day if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm online constantly working on readings and stuff, that or whatever. But talking to people, but I don't meditate like the usual person. I can go into my bedroom, lay down for 15 minutes, and get up and I'm ready to go again. I go on marathon
saying
readings.
they need to study your brain, because I really, Shawn, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it, because I couldn't go on 2 hours of sleep. He sleeps 2 hours, and I'm just amazed how he blasts out readings. He just blasts them out.
Mm-hmm. Is there anybody though, Johnny, that you have as like a guardian angel or some kind of guide that protects you while you're doing readings for people? Because I know for a fact, when I do a lot of readings and I'm up and I'm not sleeping, I find myself being very vulnerable, right? So I know that I have my guides with me, just to, so nothing can slip in.
To be honest with you, Shawn, I don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not being egotistical. I'm not worried about anything dark. I'm not worried about anything dark because that's what I do on the side. I clear houses. That's dark.
Mm-hmm.
So if something does come, and it has happened actually in readings where I did readings for people that had attachments and stuff, and they showed up here. The one example was the one night after I did a reading that it was a guy from Louisiana actually. He had an attachment. I got rid of it for him, and my wife came home from work. I set her plate down to eat. She said, Don, I set her plate down to eat. I set my plate down to eat. We were having steak and baked potatoes. And she said, did you see that? And there was a black cloud that went right across our table.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah. And she said, what are you going to do? And I reached over and lit a sage candle. Let's eat. I mean, I'm not worried about it, because I got rid of it the next morning. Whenever I usually clear something dark or, help somebody with dark matter, or some attachment tries, I will get rid of it. And everybody says, where do you send it? I said, I really can't answer that right now, but they're not here and they aren't with them anymore. Okay? That's all that matters to me.
Beverly Hall Lagorda says hello, everybody.
Oh, hi, Bev. She's a good friend. She's another psychic.
Hello?
She's actually another psychic.
Okay.
Hello, Missy. Hello, Debbie.
Yeah. I mean, look at Beverly says hi, guys. See what up? Let me ask you, Johnny, Virginia. Can you see that when I pop that up?
Pop what up?
Okay. Hi, guys. Look over. I see that.
You see it? Do you see that, Johnny?
I can see it. Yeah.
I don't see anything.
Okay.
Look to your top left of the screen. Underneath Shawn. That's where you'll be looking. Underneath Shawn.
I see Beverly. Yes, I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
Beverly.
And that says hi
So
guys.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it now.
instead of stopping you guys, I can just hit that.
Okay.
And it
Oh,
will show you
cool.
what's going
Yeah,
on.
this is hard when you
Very
can't see
cool.
whenever somebody's in and commenting
Right.
from what we're
Very
used
cool.
to.
Exactly.
You know,
So
thank you, Shawn.
I'll keep you updated. I'll be doing both here at the same time, which
But
is okay. I'm used to it. So when you had that dark time, Virginia, um, did it inspire you to start doing readings? Do you think maybe God had a little push for you? Because, some people are going to say out there that Christians, someone who are Bible thumpers, nothing against you guys. I just cannot come up with a word that I want to, express about your religion. But so they're going to say, well, how can you ask God for help and then come back on the tarot? Do you think there was a little push for the tarot?
Um, all I could say is that I was meant to find those cards. I was meant to find them, and I knew when I found them that uh, that was part of my journey. It felt like it was part of it. I knew that I was going down a path of this is what I was supposed to do. I just knew it when I found those cards, and I laid them out, and it showed me exactly what was going on in my life. I interpreted the cards like immediately, and I didn't know how to read tarot. I didn't know how to read them, but I laid them out, and I was able to interpret them. And that was just part of my journey. But I was once a born again Christian. I was like a holy roller. Talk about born again Christians. I was a holy roller. I went to church for like 6 years. I was like a really devout Christian, and I have nothing against Christians, and I have a lot of respect for people who are religious if that's what they want to do, if that's what they're called to do. Um, I'd say whatever brings you closest to God or closest to Johnny. Johnny's not religious; he's spiritual, but I'm somewhat. I wouldn't say I'm religious. I'm spiritual, but I do believe in God, and I
Okay.
how I see it is that we could. Some people call it God, some people call it Buddha. Johnny says the universe. It's just a label. Really, it's just a label. But I do
Right.
believe it's all the same thing. It's all the same energy, the source. We could call it the source, you know.
Hmm.
But
Well, well, that's how
yeah.
I am. Okay. I'm
Hmm.
very spiritual, but I do know I have a God. You know what I mean? Now, this is to you and Johnny, this question here. I know back in 1983, I was taking a drug called Antabuse. And what that does is it weans you off alcohol. All right. So if you drink alcohol with it or do any type of alcohol, you can die. Okay. So I had the system in my ear for a year. Okay. And I got depressed one day and I drank a whole fifth of Jack Daniels. Right. And I died. And then when I wasn't, I don't know how long I was dead for, but when I came back, okay, when I came back, I started to see things, hear things, and feel things that were not there. Okay. And that was like my journey. My question to you is, and this has been told to me that usually something tragic happens to a person to where the old spirit goes out and a new one pops in. And when the new pop, you don't have to die, but it could be a very traumatic experience. Did anything happen like that happen to either one of you? You
That's
don't have to get personal. I mean, I'm just saying, did something really tragic happen to the both of y'all that kind of made your gift go more?
I've definitely experienced some things in my life. I've gone through some dark times. I had a boyfriend who took his own life, and I was only 21 years old. So I went through something really traumatic when I was 21. Um, I feel like everything in my life has led me to where I am right now. And
Mhm.
the experiences that I've gone through, and talking about the dark ones, nothing has gone in vain. If anything, all of those things have helped me become who I am. It's helped me become more spiritual, connected to spirit, and nothing has gone in vain. I use every single bit of it to help other people. You know,
Mhm.
that is how I look at it. The good, the bad, and the ugly things that happen in people's lives, they could turn around and use it for good to help other people. You know,
Mhm.
that's how I
Yeah,
look at it.
Johnny, how about you, brother?
I can't say I had any one thing that caused me to start seeing. Okay, but I do want to correct you on one thing, Shawn. You weren't dead because dead is permanent. You were near death. Okay, there's
Uh,
a difference.
all right.
There's a
Well,
difference to me.
they told me I was dead, so I
Okay,
knew that.
when you pass, you don't come back. You come back
Mhm.
as a spirit. Okay,
Okay.
if you're near death, you can come back as a human, as a
Okay.
spirit
Okay.
with your soul.
All right. All
Okay,
right. All right.
that's my belief. Okay, uh, I do believe that all of us, with all our different beliefs, also pray to the same God. I choose to pray to the universe. I'm actually a minister too. Okay,
Mhm.
so I do
That's
weddings,
cool.
funerals, baptisms, and everything.
Oh, cool.
Uh, I help people that way too. Okay, but as
Mhm.
far as me seeing what brought me around, I turned on Facebook one day, and this girl from the UK says, "I have to talk to you." I didn't know this girl. Next thing I knew, there was a video chat to me because she saw that I came on, and she brought up about things in my past that nobody knew,
Mhm.
and she blew me out of the water. And so as I was talking to her every day about this and that, and she did a reading for my wife and stuff, and she had everything on my wife, and she's the one that actually helped train me whenever I started having seeing things. I'll put it that way, seeing things and hearing things. I can honestly say, looking back, that I've probably been seeing things and hearing things my whole life, but didn't know how to tell what I was seeing or hearing. You know, when you hear people say, "Well, I've been doing this since I was 12, 13 years old," I believe them 100% because I look back now, and it wasn't because I did have a major stroke, okay, and I was in very bad shape, and that happened after that I was able to see and stuff. And but the thing is, I actually, when I look back, I was actually seeing whenever I was younger. It didn't happen, you know. I didn't know what I was seeing or feeling or knowing, and then it came to the place where, like I said, sometimes you have to slap somebody upside the head to get them to listen, and that's what happened. And that was from this girl, Sarah was her name, that gave me my first reading, which I didn't even want, and it like snapped me into reality on the spiritual side. It really did. It changed my life. And then whenever I saw that murder case, they helped me. This group helped me, and they're all pagan women, true pagan women, and they taught me how to see things clear. But as far as like these people say, a wreck, a heart attack, whatever they started seeing afterwards, near death experience, I actually saw a long time before I even had my stroke. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I can't say what caused me to start seeing, but it took me years later to start seeing clearly because of help from other people.
And
And
exactly same here, Johnny. I had
and
people
and
help me.
I also work with a lot of young ones and stuff because they're seeing and they're actually being put on all kind of crazy drugs because they're seeing this stuff and hearing stuff and they don't know what's going on. And so what do? You take them to the doctor. Oh, let's put them on. They have ADHD. They have this disease, that problem, that problem, and they're pumping medicine into people that doesn't need it because all they have to do is have somebody help them, to guide them a little bit, and they'll be there to be able to. They'll know what they're seeing and feeling. Put it that way.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
the hard part, being able to, manifestation is not easy like you would think. When my wife, whenever I did that first reading, my wife came home, I was sitting there shaking, where I usually do my readings on the back porch, and I was in tears. Whenever she
Mhm.
walked around the corner, she said, "What's the matter?" I said, "You won't believe what happened." You know, and They do. It doesn't get any easier when you do like murder cases and stuff like that or missing person cases. But I mean, the first one was so bad because you saw stuff you'd never thought you could ever see in your life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that you would want to see. You not only saw, like with me, whenever I do a case like that, I don't only see it, I feel it. If they kick a person, I feel that pain.
Right.
I not
So
only see it, but I feel it.
you're an empath,
You know,
right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So am I.
Well, you know what? With me,
There was
Shawn, I tell everybody, like in the room the other day, they started about angel numbers and stuff. Okay, I said, and it was Amanda, a girl that's in the room tonight. I said, I do have a chart in my phone. I cannot tell you what that means. Virginia jumped right on it because she memorizes that stuff. You know, she deals with that. I tell everybody, I am not going to say I'm this type of psychic, that type of psychic, or whatever. I don't go with all of the new terms that are on YouTube and the internet. Because, you know, it
Mm-hmm.
started out 20 years ago, Shawn. Everybody was a soulmate that were in love. Now it's twin flames. Next week will be whatever somebody preaches on the internet the loudest.
Yeah.
I don't put terms on myself like that.
Mm-hmm.
I always say to somebody when they ask, I'm just me, because
Mm-hmm.
that covers anything. Okay?
That's a good deal.
And that's almost what you got in the bio yesterday for me because I sent that to Virginia. This is what I'm sending to Shawn. And she laughed
Oh
and
yeah.
said, no, you're not.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
that's
He
what
wanted he
if
wanted to
that's
just
what
say
you
I'm
wanted
just
me
me.
to
I said,
say,
nah,
that's not a
gotta do
problem.
more
You
than
should.
that.
You know,
Mm.
but I
Wow.
mean,
But
I so far,
here's what I want to come
okay.
up with. Okay. All right. So if you look back in the early 1920s, 1930s, okay, they had mental hospitals there. Okay.
Yes.
They had lobotomies. They were doing all kinds of really disgusting things to human beings. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And during my investigations and during all, for 17, 18 years, I come to realize that people that were put into the insane asylums or the mental hospitals back then, they actually probably saw ghosts and there was actually nothing wrong with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just had that gift. And so they were sent to like uh, some mental hospital and they did a lobotomy and they just lived there. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes me upset that, back then that they did this to people who really did not have a problem. Oh, Brandon. You know Brandon? Brandon
Brandon's
Livingston?
saying sometimes he cannot hear me, so I need to speak up. Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? I'll speak louder. I'll speak louder.
You know,
I feel like
Shawn,
I feel like I'm speaking loud, but maybe I'm not speaking loud enough. But thank you for
that's what goes
letting me know.
Mm-hmm.
that's what goes on with a lot of these teenagers. They can see and hear, but they don't know what they're seeing and hearing. The next thing you
Hmm.
know, they have them on all kind of antidepressants, this, that, and everything. And one doctor after another keeps dumping drugs on them.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that you know that science, we'll call it science, doesn't understand that a lot of this is spiritual that these kids are seeing and feeling, but they don't know how to interpret it, and they're not even giving them a chance. Well, we'll give them this to try today. 2 weeks from now, we'll put them on another drug, but they never took them off the first drug, and they never did anything to try to stop them or to help the person. You know,
Yep.
Hmm.
I've dealt with a lot of teenagers that have this problem right now. I have a friend in Ohio that's 24 years old. He was considered crazy because he
Mm-hmm.
was seeing things and hearing things. And he was seeing things and hearing things, but they had him on all this medicine.
Right.
And they classified him as being legally crazy or whatever, you know, gave him a card that said he's nuts. And the only thing it was that he's spiritual. He could see things and feel them.
Right.
There's no
Exactly.
reason
Yeah.
to take medicine for that. Help
Nope.
him see clearly. That's
Right.
what we do. We try to reach out to people to help every person we can be in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's right.
Now, see, I remember back in '91. That's the year I got sober. Um, at the time, Prozac was the biggest thing going on at that time, and a a lot of doctors, I mean, were just passing out Prozac like it was candy. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Now, a year down the road, it took a person that just started taking Prozac. He had ended up taking 4 or 5 pills just to wean himself off of the Prozac and all the medicines that that he
Mm-hmm.
took. But no, you're right, Johnny. I a lot of people come up to me now. I got a good for instance for you. I have a friend. Her son was in like a middle school of some sort, right? I forget what grade he was in, but he was telling everybody that he was seeing spirits.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to say 10. I don't think he was 10. I don't know, but what happened was, and the principal called his mom. And his mom went there, and they were going to actually like expel him from school because of all this stuff that he was saying. I
Mm-hmm.
know the kid. I know the family. He's very, 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 very spiritual. He can see things. Okay. And oh my God, I was so mad. I was so mad. I wanted to go to the school, sit that asshole down and say, hey, listen, everyone is born with a gift. Okay. And this kid can actually see spirits. You have no right to tell his mom or to tell him that there is something wrong with him.
Yeah.
I was so mad at that. And he's only 10 years old.
Yeah.
But
That's
people
terrible.
don't want to see it because it's a
We're taught,
it's a scientific thing. Everything has to be science, and that's a
yes,
bunch of horseshit. I mean, that's the
we're
way I look
Yeah.
at
taught,
it.
we're taught in this country, whether anybody wants to believe it or not, that the Bible's everything. Okay.
They got to rewrite that book. That's all I got to say.
Okay. We're taught that that's the number one thing in this country. Actually, what we all grew up with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another, it involved in our life. We're taught that spirits don't exist, ghosts don't exist, this doesn't exist, that
Yep.
doesn't exist. Meanwhile, there's people like me in Virginia, you, that can bring a
Yeah.
spirit over to somebody to talk, to give a message. Okay?
Hmm.
Uh, there's other things that people have seen and witnessed, and there's many sightings of cryptids. Okay? You know, but they don't exist because science doesn't tell. We're not allowed to say that they exist because science hasn't said yes, they exist.
Mm-hmm.
We're only, they teach us how to do what they want us to do so that they can control people. Okay. Uh, I have a theory about, like with gods and stuff, that all of us are actually praying to the same God and it's going to the universe. Whether, and
Yeah.
like my friend Sabella, she's a witch, a very strong witch, a good friend. She prays to goddesses. And she even after we sat and talked about it, she says, I think you got something right there. Everybody wants to go to this perfect place when we pass, every religious belief, basically. And I won't judge other people for their beliefs, okay? And that's why my room's working out so good because in my room, it doesn't make any difference what you believe in. You keep that out of the picture because we're here together to help each other,
Exactly.
okay?
Yeah.
And that's where
Hmm.
the problem is in our society. It's no longer helping the neighbor, helping the person down the street. It's me and you. We're not talking to anybody else. We're doing it this way. Your right way's wrong. There's no right way or wrong way to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's my feeling. The main thing though is we got to stop judging others. We got to stop
Exactly,
judging others.
man. Exactly.
You know, and
I
that's the
totally
hardest.
agree with that.
That's
Yeah.
the hardest thing I had to learn, Shawn, to do readings right. Is
And
not judging people.
for me, not judging. Judging's one thing, but the biggest thing that I had to learn was being humble. Okay. The reason being
What
is
I told you last night when you asked for that bio. That was the hardest thing that I had to do was write
right,
about myself because
right.
you know I'm not. It felt like I was bragging and I wasn't.
Nah, you weren't bragging, dude. You were just telling it like it is. But
Yes.
I mean, when I was reading people and when I would go and bust ghosts and I would go on my investigations and dealt with spirits and stuff like that, You know, at the beginning, I had major egos because I thought I was the best thing on the earth. And I come to find out that it burnt me and it kicked me in the butt. And so I learned that I had to be humble when
Yeah.
I would do investigations, when I would do readings, when I would, you know, work with spirit. And, you know, and so um, humility was the big thing for me. But before we go
Yes.
on, it is 7:45 p.m. At exactly 8 o'clock, we're going to take a 2-minute break. Okay. That will give people time to go to the bathroom, get something to drink, and then we'll come back. And what I'd like to start in the second hour, um, Virginia, do you mind if we talk about some cryptids like Bigfoot? I want to get some of Johnny's.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I want
Absolutely.
because I will be honest with you two. Ever since I started doing podcasts for the last 5 years, I
Mhm.
never knew Bigfoot existed before I started. I didn't know about aliens before they started, you know, until I started
Sure.
doing this. And so now I'm like, I'm real interested about the Bigfoot and the aliens and the dogman and the wolfman and whatever we got going on out there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so is there anybody out there in the chat room that would like to ask Johnny or Virginia a question? You know, when the question comes up, then we're not doing readings tonight. Okay, we're not going to do readings. This is just like get to know
That'll be
Johnny
the next show.
and the next show we'll do some readings, but this show we are not doing no readings. Okay, we just Jean Reese says hello. Hi, Jean. Good to see you.
Hi, Gene.
Hello, Jean. How are
Another
you?
very gifted person.
Amanda Lynn Ray says amen to that, Johnny. So, um, so the very first tarot deck that you got, Virginia, um, what was it? Do you remember?
Um, the very first tarot deck that I got, I believe, was a John Holland deck. It was a John Holland deck. Um, I don't use the cards anymore, so like I have not used cards in a long time. I use them for a very short period of time. I don't use them anymore, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't need them. I realized that I didn't need them. Use them for a short time, then realize I just connect to spirit, and you know
Have you
cards
ever
will only
tried
tell.
psychometry?
I did for a short period of time. I probably could get back into that. That to me seems a little more interesting because you're holding an object in your hand and you're picking off on the energy of it. I did do that a few times and I did pretty well with it, but I didn't continue with it. I just focusing on people's energy when I do readings,
Mm-hmm.
focusing on that. But I I'm not opposed to using that as a tool for people. I think that's great, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd be open to trying that. If somebody was sitting in front of me and they handed me uh, a watch, I wouldn't be opposed to holding on to it to see if I picked up on something, because I
Mm-hmm.
have done that before, and I was able to pick up on the energy of the item that I was holding, so it did work.
Mm-hmm. Jean Reese says psychometry is so interesting. Yeah, it is, Jean.
Mm.
I enjoy psychometry. I like to. And that's crazy for me though, Virginia, Johnny, is that I'll be outside not even doing no readings, and I'll touch something and I'll get like a jolt, like holy shit, you know. Whoever had this
Wow.
last, there was like something going on with them. How about
Wow,
you,
that's
Johnny?
pretty cool.
My question to you, Johnny, would be okay, as you know that in the field of metaphysics, a lot of psychics they do use
Yes.
pendulums. They use those damn things that cross um, dowsing rods and pendulums and stuff like that. What
Yeah.
is your thought or your opinion on that?
I am actually learning how to use dowsing rods from Sabella, and then Gene's going to do a show. Gene and Sabella are going to do a show in my room. okay, to explain them. Okay. Uh, I'm learning how to use those for certain things. Because they both use them for two different things. Okay. The pendulum and stuff like that, I do not use any of that. I'm not against anybody using them, but in the same token, I really haven't had to use anything like that because I see and feel clearly. You know, these other people, those are tools. Don't get me wrong; they're tools to help in a reading. But in my case, I choose not to use them for a reading because I don't need them. I'm not saying they couldn't help me. I'm just saying I don't use them. Okay.
Okay. Gene Reese has a question for all of us. He goes, when you all do it, the psychometry, I do believe, how do you see? With me, Gene, it's just something that I get into my head. You know, it's like a picture, like a movie. When I pick something up, sometimes it's a black and white movie that I see, or a color movie. You know, of what that object that I touched. How about you, Virginia?
Okay, so I'll just tell you the one time I held a little wrench in my hand, and it's a woman who used to work for my son. She handed me an item. She didn't say whose it was. She just handed me this little wrench that she had, and I was telling her what I was seeing. What I was seeing was an airplane, and a runway, an airplane, and like a conveyor belt. And I was just explaining to her what I was seeing. And she told me that the wrench was her husband who passed away, and he worked at the airport. And he worked like in the baggage, in the luggage area at the airport. So that's what I was seeing. That's what I was picking up on, the little wrench. So it made sense to me.
Okay, Gene, come back with another question. Do you, from the perspective of the person, when you see, do you get it from the perspective of the person that you, well, she just said it, Gene, I do
No.
believe, you know?
No, anytime I've done that psychometry, I was picking up on, I was just seeing images of what that person's seen. So I don't know if to say if it's their perspective. It's just picking up on images of where they were and what they were seeing. So
Okay.
not exactly their perspective. I wouldn't say that, but
How about you, Johnny?
um,
When I do readings, spirit comes to me in my left ear. I'm actually deaf in my left ear. Okay. I see things. At times, I see who it is. I can describe who it is talking. I know who it is. Okay. I just did this last night on a conference call. It ended up being a woman's dad. They'll yell so loud in my ear, it feels like my head's going to explode a lot of times if they want to get something across really hard. Other times they come through to me a little bit softer with their message. Okay, it depends on what their message is and how it's going to come through, whether I'm holding something of theirs or I'm not. Okay. Uh, it's really hard to say because like I do different things. I do different readings than a lot of people. Okay, the way I do readings, the way it comes through. But I also know that the readings, from what the people tell me, are 95% not accurate. Okay, it's hard to describe how this comes to you. Like with Virginia, she'll practice because we're always trying to make ourselves better, me and her. We're like doing our lives in our room, we're doing readings for people. And if she doesn't get like a couple of readings here and there, then she wants us to look at pictures and she starts reading pictures. Well, the pictures I send her, she reads and she's very accurate. You know, she's in that 95 percentile. And with me, I see it in my head, just like if she sees that picture in front of her. So I don't have to hold on to things for people. You know, spirit comes to me 24 hours a day. That's why I only sleep a few hours a day. That's why I have to sleep with a TV on loud to try to drown down what spirit's saying. So, I mean, to sit here and say, well, if I hold on to somebody's watch, or if I do this, or if I do that with tarot cards, see, I don't do any of that stuff. Spirit
Okay.
just, I'm chosen for spirit to come to me and to say what I have to say.
Okay.
And that's why it works so good with me and Virginia working together on a reading. Like, Shawn, if you came to get a reading off us, you would get every corner of the picture would be covered. Because if I miss something, Virginia has it. If Virginia misses something, I have it.
Right.
And we also do a lot of guidance work with people too to get them out of depression, to help them get out of depression.
We do.
So we're not only doing readings, we're doing guidance with people too. Okay. You know,
good.
I really can't say how I see things, except for whenever spirit wants me to tell you something, you're going to hear it, because I'm going to search you down and find you to tell you. But I won't tell you a word, even not one word, even that spirit didn't say, because that's just a story. You can go down to the library and get a book out if you want to read a story.
I love your attitude, dude. I love your attitude.
Well, I'm the one that whenever I've been in some of these readings with people, and they say, "Well, I'm gifted," I'll look at them, a lot of them, and I'll say, "I'm sorry, you can't even read the side of a cereal box, and you tell me you can do a reading." I mean, I have no problems calling people out on it. I've done it. Virginia saw me do it. You know, your average reader, what I see, 70%, and I'll tell you what, my dog's at 50%. Okay, so how good really are they? We're at the 90, 95%, and that's pretty high.
Okay.
You know,
I need to get over here to the chat room here. Stuart Clark says hello, great guest. Thank you, Stuart. Beverly Hall says, have any of you astral travel? I did, yeah.
I did.
Missy Farmer says, my mother-in-law always screams in his left ear. The first reading I had done by Virginia was her reading my picture, which is like psychometry, I would think.
Yes.
Cindy Mitch says, what an amazing team. And you know what, Cindy? They are. They're great. You should see them at work together. I just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. And, you know, sometimes it gives me goosebumps, you know what I mean, when I watch them two do it. You are really good at that, Johnny, Beverly says, with a little LOL on it. And Sebastian Moran, who's my bud, he's from England. And he said, great show tonight. Thank you, Sebastian. I got two good people with me.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It means a lot to us.
Really sweet comments. Yeah.
And yes, Beverly, I did travel. Okay. I went on a journey one night when I was laying in bed, and I didn't know where I was going. I just knew my body was on the bed and I was gone. And as I traveled, I feel I traveled the universe. I went through bright lights. I went into a room with gold people that their mouths were moving. And there really was only one word said. And I came back, woke up. I know what I did. You know, I was there. I know what I did. The next morning, I had one person contact me to tell me that they were on the same journey, but they weren't with me. By the end of the first day, there was two other people that came to me that were on the same journey. And every one of them I asked them, none of them know each other. To this day, they don't know each other. What word was said? They told me it was the same word that I heard. I was the only one that knew all of them. Okay, so I was at a Bigfoot event at Beaver Creek, Ohio this year. Met a man. He calls me up on the phone. He was a speaker there too. 35 years ago, he went on the same journey as we went on. And I asked the man, I said, what was the word you heard? He told me it was the same word. And I won't reveal that word. So right there's 3, 4, 5 people I know that have done the same journey. Described everything to the T. And they all heard the same word. and nobody knows each other. That's the crazy part. I'm the only one that knows all of them. They came to me with it, the story. And what's it mean? I'm not sure yet. We'll find out hopefully, down the road or whatever. But yes, I did travel one time.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Okay, it is 8 o'clock. So that means it is break time. Okay, we will be back in 2 hours. And I'm going to want to talk to Johnny and Virginia a little bit more about Bigfoot and aliens and stuff like that. So go get something to drink, go to the bathroom, do what you got to do. And I will see you back here in 2 minutes. Let me get the commercials going.
Go ahead.
And there we go.
Looking for stories that are fresh and new? Dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, cyberpunk, alternate history, and more. They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. From 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold.
Looking for something new in dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, alternative history? They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. Get the 10-volume box set with 159 stories and full-color illustrations, plus 34 articles with writings and art tips. Get the UPRN discount, $125 for the entire box set. That's a $60 savings for that beautiful box set. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Go to uprntalkradio.com, click on the link, and place your order.
Welcome back to the second hour of Into the Night. I got my guests on, Virginia and Johnny. Couple announcements again, like I said in the first part, who missed it. October 31st here on UPRN Talk Radio. We're in 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. Okay, and I also want to thank Carnation for sponsoring the second hour of my show tonight. So on October 31st is a Tuesday. Since Halloween's on a Tuesday, that's usually my night. So that's why I have a special show tonight, because it's covering for, next Tuesday. So, but on Halloween night, we're going to have all the hosts from all the shows on UPRN, and we're going to have like a little Halloween party. So if you're not doing nothing next Tuesday night, I do believe Joe said it started around 7, maybe till 10. Who knows? I don't know. So in the second hour, Johnny, I want you, give us a little background on you investigating Bigfoot.
Okay. It started about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. We were riding down the road, and I actually saw one. And I couldn't figure out what I saw. It was 20 feet off the road. Okay. My wife was driving, and she didn't see it. And I couldn't even tell her what I saw because I couldn't speak. And then finally we got down the road, like a half mile down the road, and I said, stop it was the van, and stop the van. Okay. And she said, what's the matter? And I said, I just saw something back there. I don't know what it was. And anyway, it was a Bigfoot. So we come home the next day. Actually, she went to work on the same road, going the opposite direction, of course. And she saw one that was about 4 or 5 foot tall walking down a path on the side of the road in the same area. So I always believed that there could be a Bigfoot because, back in '69, whenever they came out with the movie and stuff, I was young and I was 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, whatever it was. And, you started believing in it. Okay. But I always said it would have to be over in Washington State, Oregon, places like that, never in Pennsylvania. Ends up, I couldn't sleep. This thing came to me every night, right in my face like this, and woke me up because I locked eyes with it whenever I saw it that day. Mm-hmm. And I was putting newspaper in to start a fire because I heat my house with wood. And there was about a group in Fayette County where I live. And so we went up, and I told them what I saw. And I told them the bad part is when you have an experience like this, you can call the police, 911, whatever. They're going to laugh at you. If you have a doctor, they're going to give you a 72-hour lockdown. You're going 302. They're going to put you right in a mental institution because this is normal. Because we're taught that this stuff doesn't. This is what I said earlier. We're taught that this stuff doesn't exist, right? So now I'm seeing this stuff, and I start researching. A guy was delivering wood here, and he was telling me, "Well, I heard something that sounded. I don't know what it was. I think it was a Bigfoot." Ends up, we became friends. I started researching over there, started finding tracks, having another sighting, hearing them over there, and other places too. And finally, I had a second sighting, and it was about 100 yards away. But I knew what it was I was seeing, and there was always something spiritual about them to me, because like they mess with electronics, because there was a track found 20 feet in front of his tree stand where he had a tree camera, a trail camera. And he was there the day before. There was 100 and some pictures on it. And I said, I'm going to guarantee there's 1 or 2 that are going to be blacked out, or something's going to be, we're going to have the best picture in the world. Him and my wife were over there going through it as fast as they could. 2 blacked out pictures back to back. And that thing was 20 feet in front, but in the same spot, every raccoon, every possum, every squirrel, every deer that walked past there, and even turkey, were picked up on that camera. But there was 2 that were blacked out. And I hear this all the time, or they're blurry or whatever, but I for some reason, with that and being who I am, as far as being able to read people, I've actually had an advantage over other people, because I can walk in a lot of times in the set of woods and I don't have to go any further. I can turn around and go back and I'm not going to find any evidence. I don't even have to worry about going in. I know I will find evidence in there if I go in. But I also know that if there's no evidence in there, I might as well go home. So I go home. Okay.
So what kind of evidence? What kind of evidence do you look for? I mean,
I look for trailways, trackways. I look for tracks. I have 26 sets of tracks, 26 castings here from tracks from Bigfoots. I even did bear castings so that I could show the difference to people between a bear and a Bigfoot, because they say, well, how do you know it's not this, or how do you know it's not that? Okay, so because we have bear in our area too. And you learn, this is the way I do it. Things in nature do one thing, Bigfoots do another, but everything that is done is not Bigfoot. A lot of it's nature. If I can't prove that a Bigfoot did it, then it's nature. Just like the one property I go to, they have 9 burial mounds, Indian burial mounds. The only thing that has grown on these is moss. There's not a leaf on them. There's not a tree growing out of them, not grass, just moss. These mounds, because California University actually went there to research them, are 4,000 years old. And the only thing that's grown on them is moss. And that's because moss was used, because it's iodine mainly, for on wounds and stuff. They claim that Bigfoot taught the natives how to medical stuff, how to use plants and stuff. And that's where I find a lot of tracks around there. So I really feel, now this is my opinion, that everybody has their own opinions. You got to keep an open mind. I feel that they actually make sure that those are clean and groomed. Like a garden, they tend to them. And they use them for medicinal purposes. I see stuff like that. They're known to be, they're supposedly known to be around like old cemeteries too, Bigfoots, because you get a lot of reports about that too. Because I take a lot of reports from people, and I go out and investigate. I've never looked for, I've looked for hair, but finding a piece of hair somewhere is almost impossible. I mean, in the woods. And I always tell everybody, you're not going to find one on the computer. Shut off your computer, shut off YouTube and all that. Go out in the woods. At worst, you had a nice hike and got out to enjoy the woods or whatever. I have done a lot of research with Bigfoot. I have walked a lot of miles. Okay, me and my wife and me and other people will never get to know exactly what they are, because when you start this, you think they're flesh and blood. Then after you really start to get into researching, you have to keep an open mind. They're not flesh and blood like a monkey or a bear or a human. There's like a spiritual side, because they can go through portals, because I proved that in Beaver Creek, Ohio this year.
Okay.
How'd
you prove that?
How did I prove it? How did I prove it?
Yeah.
When I was going there for 2 weeks before, I kept telling everybody, there's a portal there. Everybody thought I was crazy. We got there. Everybody that walked in that campground, there was 15 of us. I said, there's a portal right up that lane, 60 feet on the right, right around 60 feet on the right. Well, a bunch of them walked up it. I didn't go up it. I never walked up that portal. I never walked up that trail. Okay? One kid comes there on Saturday night. He's not a kid. He's a younger guy. And he walks up to me. He said, hi, I'm Matt. I said, hi, Matt. I'm Johnny. And he looked at me again. I said, I'm Johnny. There's a portal right up that stretch. He's on a crutch because he had a knee replaced. And he only has one leg because the other leg was amputated. He hobbled up there, and the rest of us are all sitting around a campfire talking, and stuff, eating and drinking and stuff. And he comes back and almost picks me up out of a chair. Almost picked me up on my shoulder. I'm telling you, the guy's a big guy, but he almost picked me all the way up out of. He says, "You got to hear this." He walked back there. He started talking to him. He found where I told him. He started talking to him. He got a grunt, 3 wood knocks on a recording. So now he's 150 feet away from us, actually, from where we were setting. We never heard any of it. He brings it back, plays it. He said, I've only played for 2 people. Virginia's actually heard it too. He let me hear it, and he took another guy that brought him there to the side to let him hear it. And he wouldn't play for the other people. And of course, whenever I said, that portal I told you people was back there, he just went back and recorded something. They all jumped up. There were some YouTubers there and everything. They were all going to run back to record everything in Butler now, even though they had the same chance for 2 days now. Well, I told him, you just sit back down. That's his fine. Leave it there. So the next day we go up and at Beaver Creek, you have a pancake breakfast and you do your event. So a friend of mine that lives down there, 10 minutes from the park, she said, she's a psychic too, and her and her husband come to the pancake breakfast, and I'm talking to her about it, and she says, and there's a horse trail that wraps around the campground, right? Because when we were sitting there, people were riding horses around, She said that they saw, because they walked there a lot, because she said, I know there's a portal there somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I said, I know exactly where it is. And anyway, a horse comes running down a trail and almost runs over her and her husband with a Native American on it, painted out for war. The horse was painted, almost ran the lady over, her and her husband. And she said, when we turned, it was gone. There was no, it was a spirit. So she knew there was stuff up in there, right? But she didn't know where, so I helped her a little bit with that. But I get these stories all the time, Shawn. People call. I mean, I told you the one about the truck just recently.
Yeah.
You know,
I have a couple questions for you too. Okay.
okay.
One for Johnny and one for Virginia and Johnny. Johnny, this is from Beverly Hall, LaGorga. She says, Johnny, have you ever heard of a Bigfoot in the Somerset area? And if you so, have you gone to check it out?
Beverly, you know that I'm associated with a lot of researchers, and there are sightings up in Somerset area. Okay. Uh, the one guy actually has a shop up there that he had one made up, and everybody goes up there to see this Bigfoot that he had made up. He doesn't say it's a Bigfoot, it's just with the hair and everything, the taxidermist did it for him. But that, this is all part of the Chestnut Ridges, which is actually the hot spot. And the Chestnut Ridge, people don't understand it. It goes from West Virginia all the way through Westmoreland County almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big area, and there's a lot of things that happen there between UFO sightings, different lights being seen, Bigfoot sightings, ghost sightings. There's a lot of very interesting stuff that happens there. Okay. I do have quite a few friends that are researchers that go that direction, or go different places. I get a lot of people contacting me too that they took reports from people, and we compare them and stuff like that. I've got to know some of the what I consider some of the best researchers there are out there, even in the state of Ohio and stuff like that. I deal with people that go out and research. I don't deal with people that just write books and go on the internet, because that doesn't help me. Okay, anybody can look on the internet and find something, but it's not your evidence. You go out and find it yourself. You earn it. It's just like with doing readings. We earned this chance to be on this show with you tonight. We earned it. We paid our dues. That's the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Virginia, have you ever seen a Bigfoot, Virginia? And if you did, or if you didn't, what would you do if you ran into one?
I've never seen a Bigfoot. No, I've seen little feet, but not big feet. No, not Bigfoot. Just kidding. But no, I have never had the pleasure of seeing a Bigfoot. If I saw one, I don't really know what I would do. Honestly, I don't really know. I probably would be stunned.
You would call Johnny, right? You'd call Johnny.
I think I would be standing there in shock, and I probably would not move. From what I'm hearing, some of them are just really big. I mean, really, to talk about Bigfoot, they are really, some of them are tremendous, are big. And, that's an incredible sight to see something like that.
My friend Mandy.
I would imagine myself being in shock.
Yeah, all you do is call Johnny Freeman. He'd be up there in a heartbeat trying to find that Bigfoot. And he'd probably go and wrestle it in his kilt. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, my kilt. I didn't have to wear it today because I didn't go to the witch festival.
My friend Mandy, she's out of North Carolina. She wants to know, have any one of you seen or heard about the lizard 2 feet walking animal in North Carolina? I haven't, Mandy.
Okay, Mandy, I didn't hear about it in North Carolina. I've heard about it in a lot of different states. Okay, I actually saw castings that I know that a person made, and they came from West Virginia by the Ohio River. Okay, it was inline walking tracks. They found a trackway. They were actually looking for Bigfoot and run across lizard tracks. Okay, there's about the Monongahela River. There's a legend of a lizard man there. A woman down in the swamp, Dana Hollickfield, her grandfather actually had movies. It wasn't videos of Bigfoots and plus he also the tracks that he collected in the swamp. A lot of them were for reptilians or lizards that were up on 2 feet. Okay, uh, very good person. I've talked to her quite a few times. When she was a little girl, her grandfather would go out hunting, and he got him goats to play with. They thought he took them out and used them for bait to try to lure in Bigfoots and everything else, and then he took movies of it. And they found the movies 4 or 5 years after he passed. They didn't even know he was doing this stuff, and there was actually alleged Bigfoots on it. I'll put it that way because to me they look like it, but that doesn't mean they were. You know, I mean, because there's so many people out there that hoax stuff, and that's a shame because that's what ruins the community. You know, but yes, I've heard about the lizard tracks. I could probably find somebody to talk to you about it, Amanda, because I do have a friend
Mandy.
that's down that way.
That was Mandy.
Oh, Mandy.
Yeah,
Okay.
do me a favor. Send me that name to me, Johnny, and I will relate it. I'll get it to Mandy down in North
Okay.
Carolina.
All right. Yes.
Beverly Hall Lagorgo says, my family and I were camping in the Somerset area, and we were in the campground alone. We knew something was outside the camper, but we got up and left, didn't stick around. Her hair stood up on the back of their necks. Muddy Waters, she says, hey, everyone, late to the show. She was lost in the woods all day.
Nice to see you, Muddy.
Okay, and Beverly comes back with another question. Virginia, have you ever gone out on an investigation with Johnny?
I have not. I have wanted to. I have really, missed out on a lot. When he went to that Bigfoot event, I wanted to go so bad. I had so much going on in my own personal life that I was not able to attend that, but I absolutely wanted to be there. I do plan on doing things like that in the future, for sure. I do want to. I'm very interested in with the Bigfoot and these other events and that alien event. What was the name of that alien event?
Kecksburg.
That you went to?
Kecksburg.
Kecksburg.
Yeah, I was
I got a
interested
story
in going
behind
to that as
Kecksburg,
well.
but I won't share it tonight.
Yeah.
I
I'm interested definitely in doing that for sure. That's
well,
on
see,
my list of things to do.
me and Beverly never went on a Bigfoot investigation. I met Beverly and I showed her a picture that I had on my phone about 2 missing people. And the next day we talked and we became friends that way. Okay, I'll leave it at that. That's how we became friends. And she said to me, "I would love to work a case with you." I said, "Well, next time I get a case, in your area or whatever." I didn't even know where Beverly lived. I knew she was over in Mount Pleasant area, Westmoreland County. So I get contacted about a missing person case, which ended up, it was a murder case, and I saw it immediately. So I figure, well, hey, Beverly wanted to work a case. She's a psychic too. Boom, I get a hold of Beverly. So we go over there and we do this case. And the woman says, "Do you want to go back to the house?" I guess so, Ends up, the house is almost directly across from Beverly's, across the parking lot. And these people were doing a lot of lying, but it ended up because the man was on drugs. It was like they found his body, and it was just, we don't care. That's the way the police were. But actually, the person that I said all along murdered him, they picked him up 2 or 3 days after they found the body, maybe a week, within a week, and they put him in jail for something else. So at least he's off the street for 15 years. And I'm going to tell you, in the state of Pennsylvania, if you murder somebody, it's going to be pleaded down to 10 to 15 years. And so justice was done anyway. Yeah. But it was funny. The person I said, whenever it was Saturday when I went for the thing, the day before, he went to the VA because he was a veteran. Well, he got put in detox, and nobody was allowed to talk to him for 90 days. One of those deals. Because the police weren't allowed to investigate him. The police didn't really care to investigate because it was a man on drugs. and he had a very bad drug problem. But it was like, this is your job, and they don't care. They really don't. A lot of policemen don't care. That's
No, they
that's the feeling I
don't.
got.
Muddy Wad says, Johnny, we need to take Virginia to Beaver Creek.
I
Yes.
told her she can. I
Yes.
told her, and she said she wants to go.
Definitely
We're
wanna
actually
go.
trying to set. We're actually trying to set up a another camp out there in May, Muddy, and it's going to be by invitation only. And you know, for that same campground we were at, uh, every day we had some type of paranormal experience there. We were there from Friday till Sunday, and everybody at the campground experienced something. I'm not going to say it was Bigfoot, just strange stuff that was paranormal that happened to every person that was there. Uh,
Yeah.
it does, you know, and Bigfoot to me is actually spiritual too. So, you know, part spirit or whatever. So it all falls into place to me whenever I hear these stories, whenever I'm with people. And like Matt, the one that recorded that, he went down to get a battery for somebody's cell phone because there's no power at this campground out of his car. And then he got out. We had millions of lightning bugs around us. And I said I brought it up there, but I says, I've never seen this many lightning bugs, and they're supposed to be on the endangered list. Well, Matt goes down to get this battery, which I didn't know he was doing, and he was down there, and he actually filmed them because he called his wife when he was getting the battery out of the car because he was away from everybody. He was down by the creek, in the parking lot, and he said, I've never seen anything like this. He videoed it. There was millions. The ground was even lit up. There was that many lightning bugs around it. And they're supposed to be on an endangered list.
That's
And
incredible.
whenever he went down there, they left us and went down over the hill with him to go to the parking. You know, why did they do it? I can't answer that, but I mean, it was like another
That's
thing,
pretty
strange
cool.
thing that happened. You know?
All right,
Yeah.
Muddy Wad says, what's he say here? Virginia, get your camo gear out. Bigfoot
Get
is
my
down
camo
there.
gear out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
been going there
All
my
you
whole
need is the
life.
bibs. All you need is bibs. Put on a set of bibs, they'll come to you.
We could push Johnny in the portal. We could push
No,
him in the
no.
portal.
That's funny. Beverly Hall says, do you
You go first,
believe that
Johnny.
Bigfoots could go invisible or just disappear into the portal? My opinion, they go into the portal. And I'm glad you asked that question, Beverly, because I want to ask the question to Johnny. Um, in all my studies of Bigfoot or all the big main people that I've had on my shows and back at Chasing Prophecy, um, they claim that the UFO and the Bigfoot work together. Okay. And that whenever there's a
Okay.
Bigfoot sighting, there's a ton of UFO activity. And for some reason, they pop into the portal whenever the UFOs are on.
Okay.
Are they connected?
From what I've heard, okay, because I can't, you know, I can't say 100% that it's true. There are a lot of sightings that happen, you know, or the same time that there's UFOs in an area. Okay, as far you know, somebody saw a Bigfoot or whatever, and that evening they saw a UFO. Now the big thing is orbs. They're seeing these orbs going through the woods, and I know a guy from Ohio that actually videoed him the orbs and sent them to me going through the woods. They were, I would say, in my opinion, a little bit bigger than a basketball. But there was no reason for this to happen. You know, where did it come from? What was it? And then Bigfoots were around. Okay, are they traveling that way? I can't say. He feels they are. You know, I mean, other people say they travel on UFOs. I never thought that I would say that I did see one picture. Well, actually, two pictures now of them going through a portal. That they were actually like, remember on Star Trek, the machine where they went and they moved, they would send them someplace else. Like
Yeah.
it was like blurred, real bad, like digital. I've seen two pictures like that now. And
Okay.
I'm not saying that was a portal. I'm just saying that this is what these people claimed it was.
Okay.
Okay.
I have another question for you.
Okay.
This is from Kason Lee. He's over there. I want to say Oh, I know where he's from. He's from an island. He's a good dude, man. He comes and listens to the show all the time. He goes, "Is Bigfoot and the abominable snowman are the same?" Question mark.
Every continent has some type of Bigfoot cryptid type animal or creature. It's a creature. Uh, in Vietnam, they ran across the rock apes, they claimed. They were 5 foot high, like Bigfoot type deals in Vietnam. Many soldiers have saw them, because I've seen them. They don't exist, they claim. But every country, every continent has some type of uh, cryptid that's like a Bigfoot or close to a Bigfoot. They just call it something else. Russia's had them for years. They claim. Okay, just like we claim here, we have them because they won't let it become a species. Because if you let something become a species, think about a little owl in the logging industry. They're not allowed to take within so many hundreds of acres around that tree that has a nest. Okay, to make sure that they can keep breeding. Okay, you're not allowed to go through certain places with gas lines, water lines, oil lines. So now we have to put this property all away for Bigfoot. So the government will never let it happen because there's too many billions of dollars that would be lost if it became a species. Okay? And all the DNA that's been worked up on it so far that I've read about and heard about, it always has human and a primate. Okay?
Yeah, I heard that a lot too.
Okay. And the first thing they say is that you contaminated it. Okay? Because that's where the humans come from. But it's not your human DNA in there. It's mixed in with the primate. I will say this. The 3 that I saw did not look like apes. They looked more like human faces. The second one I saw, Shawn, it was like grayish through here, like a pale gray, and it had almost a human nose. The first one had more of a ape nose, a flatter nose, and it was like black leather. This part of their face was like black leather.
Okay.
But it still did not look like an ape. It looked more like a human to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is possibility that this is an ancient, some people say it's ancient civilization. Okay, I don't know what it is. I keep an open mind because I don't know. And I'll probably never know.
Stuart Clark says, "Look like Native American face to me." That's what Stuart said.
I can go with that. Yeah, Stuart, I can go with that.
You know,
Stuart's a good researcher.
I'm so blessed to know you all, to be honest with you. And now, okay, now we're getting close to because I like to close the show off at an hour and 10 minutes, and I still have my people are waiting for my readings. Okay, I usually do my spread. You guys see the animal spread. I'm going to throw this question out to the both of you. Do you believe in the little people? Leprechauns, fairies, fays, trolls, gnomes.
I've seen pictures. I also know very, very well-known researchers that actually have seen little people. They call them little forest people.
Yep.
One from Canada that she's found actually you could see little sandal tracks about that big. Little sandal prints in the dirt that she has actually cast. I took pictures of. I have a girl from New York from
Virginia.
No. We're talking upland New York. I did a reading for her and we started talking about things and she said, and she lives on a farm, and she says, on our farm, we have little forest people. And I said, okay. So we start talking, and she described the same thing that this other woman described to me, about 8 to 10 inches high. And they will only come out if they're comfortable around you. And some of them are very mean, she said. This is what this girl said. Some of them can be very mean. They'll pick at, they'll bother you. If you leave a tractor out there, they'll bother the tractor. You know, I don't know if they do or they don't, but this is what she told me. I can only go by what she told me. The other woman said no, they never. You know, they're really good. You know, but the other woman I know is also a very well-known Bigfoot researcher and cryptid researcher. Okay, who's right, who's wrong? I can't answer that.
Mm.
I can just tell you what they both told me. Okay, I've never
How about
seen
you?
them.
Good.
I've seen fairies though. I've seen fairies here. The one night, the one morning, my wife said, "I see something flying around the bedroom." And I contacted Jean because Jean that was on the show a little while ago asking questions. She does a lot of work with angels. That's why I said I'm always around gifted people, and a lot of these people, it appears, that come in here know me in Virginia. Okay, and they're supporting you too, Shawn. But
Mm-hmm.
she says she's told my wife all about the angels that are around her, and I saw them outside. My wife has seen them outside around our house. What I saw was definitely a fairy. My wife has seen fairies outside, but now my wife really believes, Gene, that the one that was in our bedroom flying around, because my wife has cancer, and the one that was flying around in there was an angel. She really believes that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
I
somebody you should think
experienced.
about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Virginia. Go ahead.
That's okay. I
No,
did
go ahead.
experience one time when I after doing a reading for someone, I was doing a reading for this man in South Africa, and it was a very emotional reading, and it was beautiful. You know, the reading that I did for him, and everything was on point, and he was so grateful and thankful for the reading. And when it was done, I went to take a shower, and what I experienced, what I felt like I was seeing was like little fairies. I was like, oh my God, what is it that I'm seeing? I mean, I can't describe. I can only tell you what I
I
experienced when
remember
I
this.
was taking a shower. Remember when I told you
Oh yeah, she
that I
came to me with it, and it was
seen
like, okay.
like fairy dust. It's a good way to explain it. Is like it looked like fairy dust, like little sparkles of light flying
Mm-hmm.
around, and I was in awe. I was really in awe of what I was seeing. I actually was taken back in the shower and saying, I can't believe what it is that I'm seeing. It was all around the shower, and I said, wow, this is just mind-blowing what it is that I'm seeing here. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was beautiful. And the next time I spoke to the man that I did the reading for, I said, after I did this reading for you, I had this amazing experience in the shower, and what I was seeing, to me, the only way I could describe it is I felt that I was seeing fairies. I really did experience something like that. I never saw it again. It was the one and only time that I saw anything like that, but I do believe that fairies do exist. And I
That's
believe that what
cool.
I saw was I had a spiritual experience in the shower of all places. Go figure.
Sweet. No, that's cool as
Uh,
hell. That's
could happen
sweet.
anywhere.
Okay,
Could happen
I got
anywhere.
to get here to the comments here. Kason Lee says, thank you, Johnny and me, Shawn and Johnny. So he's thanking you.
Thank you.
Amanda Lynn Ray says, I do believe little people. I think there is truth in every legend or myth. Amanda, Stewart said, me too. And Amanda, exactly every story comes from truth. Money Waters. Why do I say Waters? It's Muddy Waters. I don't know. Johnny will correct me after the show tonight, bud. I've
Yes.
seen things in orbs, but never sure what sometimes look like wings. Oh wow. Okay, I would like to share my story on fairies, and then we'll finish up with
Okay.
talking about your show and your readings and where we're at, because I really want hopefully get you guys out there tonight. They are they have a great show. They have a good room. But my son, when I got a divorce, my son came over. I was living over an apartment over in Pleasant Hills, and they this apartment complex that I was in, they actually put out um, gardens, plants, fruit, I mean, whatever, they just planted something. So once it was in the spring, it was like around April, beginning of April. My son wanted to go out to the garden. And so we went and we sat there. It was about dusk. And all of a sudden, we started to see these little lights flickering. You know what I mean? Just looking around like that. And I'm like, the hell's that? You know, I was like, this is crazy. My son was so in tune with these lights. You know what I mean? So the next morning, we went back out in the garden. And guess what we saw there? Right where the lights were. A fairy ring, a perfectly circle mushroom ring.
Yes.
And I was like,
Wow.
yes.
Wow.
I got
Amazing.
chills. It was
Amazing.
crazy, man. It was. Okay, we're getting pretty close to the end of the show. Now, Johnny, Virginia, please talk about your show. Talk about what you want to do. And you're on. I mean, this is for you. It's all yours.
Go ahead, Virginia. You know how to talk.
Well,
You know how to talk to him.
well, we do readings together. We work together, and we really enjoy working together and helping people. And if anybody's interested in a reading, they could, contact us for sure. We're on Facebook, and we have our own reading room. Right now it's private, but you know, um, they could certainly find us on Facebook. We're easy to find.
Yes.
And
Send one of us a friend's request with a message that
yeah,
you met us on this show and that you'd like to be on our room, and we'll do what we can to get you in the room. Okay.
yeah. And we do.
Our room is.
Go ahead, John.
Our room's run a little bit different than a lot of people's because I say that we're a family and we travel as a family. And I showed that to Shawn when we were here this week and everything that earlier with the shows, every time we come in, we bring more people from our room because we support Shawn. He supports our group by asking us on here tonight. We're on Facebook, either my name or Virginia's name. I don't have any of my cards with me now, or else I'd try to post one right now in here, but I wouldn't be able to. I'll make sure Shawn sees one of our cards that has our name on it, our phone numbers, to get a hold of us. Yeah, we're trying to get our room to grow so we can help more people, And in the same token, it's a safe place where no one's going to come in and bother you. No one's going to judge you. And it's amazing the way people start working together. Okay.
Yeah, we do free mini readings in the group. We do free mini readings, but if somebody wanted a private reading, they can contact us for a private paid reading. So they
even if they don't want to know.
If they want to have privacy, absolutely contact us. We will work with you privately, and we read people together. It's a unique experience because they have two psychics. So it's not just one, it's two. And a lot of times I will pick up on something that's, Johnny, it's kind of like we have like puzzle pieces like this, he'll pick up on something and I'll pick up on something. And we really work very well together. There's been a lot of times where I've picked up on health issues with people. And I've told them I see this and I see that. That happens to me all the time. Right, Johnny? All the time.
Yes,
that happens.
There's always something that comes up that even makes us say, wow. Whether it's in a live in our room or a live, doing a reading with a private reading with somebody, there's times that it just says, wow, because it's so amazing what we see or feel, and how we get it.
Cindy Mitch says, if you want to copy your name down, she definitely wants to check out the room.
Great.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
That's great.
Get a hold of one of us and we'll invite you into it.
Yes,
There's actually the videos of the lives we've done are all posted there. And believe it or not, we do put a lot of time into it. And you'll see from the first ones we did till now, we've improved so much because we want to make it a more pleasurable experience for the people that come in the room and plus for ourselves. We want to be the best we can be. So we do
Yeah.
a lot of stuff behind the scenes to try to make it better for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
Okay. Kason says, I'm going through some tough times. I'll check out the Facebook group. Amanda says, yes, and I can't wait to be able to do a personal reading with them myself.
yeah.
Moneywad says, Johnny, don't know why you didn't go to event. Hope your outfit was still is still put to good use. Virginia and Johnny are an awesome team, and Amanda says they are awesome.
Oh,
Virginia,
thank you guys so
Johnny,
much. That's very sweet. Thank you.
thank you
Thank
so
you,
Really
much for
everybody.
appreciate
coming
that.
on tonight. Thank you
Really
guys for coming
appreciate
on
that.
tonight.
Hey, thank you, Shawn, for
Oh,
inviting us
thank
on
you,
your show.
Shawn.
Yes,
Okay,
it
go do
was
your card thing, bud.
all right. It was a very interesting, and I want to thank you again. Oh, Kason wants to know the name of the group, real quick.
It's
Your
Seeing
group.
Through the Veil.
Seeing through the veil.
Let me type that in right now, buddy. What
Seeing
do I
through the
do?
veil. Yeah,
All right,
I can't.
Seeing Through the
hold on.
Veil.
Okay, seeing. I'm putting it in now. Seeing
Okay.
through the veil. Okay. All right. I'm putting it up, and it's going to go into everywhere we're at. Seeing through the veil. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Shawn.
Thank you so much, Virginia, Johnny. I'm so grateful you guys are in my life. All the people that you have brought into my life, I'm just very grateful for it. I would like to
A
get you
pleasure.
on, and I want to get you all in November, and maybe we can do a show where psychic readings for people.
Yes.
That would be
Yes.
pretty cool. Amanda says, thanks, Shawn, Johnny, and Virginia. You all do so awesome. Love you. Love your show, Shawn. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate them kind
Sweet.
words. So I'm going to put you in the green room. You can check out if you want, but you don't have to. You can stay in the green room and we can chat after the show, okay?
That's
It's all up to
fine.
you.
We can do that.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to
Great.
run out and
Thank
have a
you.
cigarette, though.
All right. Yeah, we'll
I made it this long without a cigarette, so I'm going to go have a cigarette.
I'm impressed, Johnny.
Okay.
All right. Okay, everybody. That was an awesome show tonight. Like I said, they're beautiful people. They're very good. I don't know. I just get real excited, and I just feel it's a good feel. It's a good feeling that they're around. So it's that time of the show. Getting pretty close to the end of it, and I'm going to draw my cards. And as you all know, everyone knows that um, I use the animal medicine cards. And I'm trying to find somebody to get on a show here and talk about how animal totems really work. But I think they're really interesting. So I'm going to do is draw the 3 cards. The first card I'm going to draw will be your past. The second one that I'm going to draw will be the animal for right where you're at right now. And the third one is going to be your future card, future. Yeah, me too, Amanda. Honestly, Pete. Yes, I'm searching for somebody. So remember, write these down. The first one's your past. The second one is the now, and the third one's the future. And after it's written down, after the show tonight, Google the animals that I pull. Okay, and just look up their spiritual meanings for you, the totem reading. So the first card I put up. Oh, it's blank. Check that out. It's a blank, and that's a blank. I don't. I guess We'll go with another one. Let's see. Okay, the first one is a raccoon. The raccoon. So that is your past card, the raccoon. The second one, ooh, in the now is the bear. Okay, that's the card for you now. Thank you, Missy, for that compliment. What a great show. And the future card, the third card, is the otter. Okay. Um, so you got the raccoon as your past. Let me write these down. Then you got the bear for the now and the otter for the future. So again, just go and Google those cards, those animals' names, and find out what their totems is. I want to thank everybody for coming in on my special show tonight. This Tuesday, I will have another show, and I'll have my friend Maxim Shurik, and he's an author. I had him on when he first came out with his first book, Coal Region Hoodoo. Okay, but he just came out with a second book, and it's Flying Saucer. I really Esther Toshin, something like that. So if you're not doing nothing on Tuesday night, please come at 8:00 p.m. Tuesday night into the night, and from 8 to 10. And I mean, the guy's a very good author. He does a lot of good stuff. Don't forget, October 31st, next Tuesday, Halloween night, we're going to have a party here with all the hosts of the show. Okay. And children, please, if you can, seriously, children, if you can, go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. If you don't have no children, if you have no parents around, find somebody and give them a hug. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Sebastian. Find somebody and give them a hug. If you see somebody struggling, because it is coming up on the holiday season, find somebody. If you see somebody that's hurting, just go sit with them. You don't have to talk to them, just sit with them and just acknowledge that you're there. And because I know what it's like being alone during the holidays, and I know how depressed I can get, a long time ago. And for me, with somebody just sitting beside me or saying hello to me, acknowledging me, okay, that I'm a human being, it really, really took it out of my depression for that day. So if you see somebody hurting, please give them a hug. And on that note, thank you for stopping by. Have a good night and happy hunting. And not yet. We can't do that yet. And see you this Tuesday coming up. Alrighty, Aphrodite. There we go.